Dr. Otchere is joining us on Zoom. He's a senior political, it's a political analyst, senior lecturer, and the executive director of the Africa Institute of Strategic Studies. Thank you, Dr. Otchere. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
You watched what happened in Parliament earlier this evening. Professor Abdullah is of the view that, look, there hasn't been enough punishment to send a clear signal. But just a quick one from you on this. It has happened again after what happened in January. What should be the thinking going forward to ensure we don't see this chaos again in Parliament?
Well, let me say good evening to your viewers and to your good self. I think that the Speaker, as he rightly pointed out in the beginning of the 9th Parliament, he assured all Ghanaians that he was going to protect the micro-minority. And I presume that is the more reason why he's been more or less tampering, justice with some kind of mercy. And it is becoming one too many. We seem to have a kind of minority that of the view that unless it is through some kind of rowdyism, their voices or their views will not be heard. It's as if it is not enough when they dialogue or put across superior argument, and the only means by which they can achieve the result that in their view should be or come in their way, this is the only means by which they can do that. And I think that it is about time the Speaker changed his mind and ensure that he cracked the whips, because as part of the sanctions, some kind of financial sanctions could be meted out to those that could be considered as the perpetrators. And to crown it all, I think it's an embarrassment of the kind of leadership that we are seeing in the minority today. It's just quite unfortunate.
Let's see. Now, well, he's doing the job of a speaker. That's what he said. You see it as protection, but then again, you heard the minority MPs. This is a tool that's available to them, they say, to drum home their message to the same speaker that you are saying is protecting them.
I think that they have taken this protection to a different level, to the point that they have become disrespectful of the speaker. How many times did he have to stand up in order to catch the eye, of both sides especially, and especially so the minority? And so I believe that this probably father for all mentality will have to stop somewhere. But, Alfred, what I see in the minority's behavior is nothing else but a fear of the potential loss of Pandai seat. It's not about the legal incumbencies. It is about the fact that the minority currently is unattractive. And if you look at the performance of the central government, so to speak, then it points out to me that they stand at a crossroads and potentially they could lose that particular seat, should they even go for the rerun. And that is the more reason why I believe that they are going on that particular tangent, thinking that that could be the best way of solving this particular problem. It is not as though they are ready for it. Apart from that, that also means that they are likely to get some reduction in numbers. And that could equally affect their position. So some of us felt that, look, this belligerent position of the minority, spearheaded by the minority leader, today I didn't really see him. I was told that he was there and then he left. But I thought that having seen the minority misbehaving or misconducting themselves in that manner, he ought to have come back wherever he had gone to. But he chose not to return at all. So who was leading the pack of minority? It is just unfortunate. And so I'm of the view that apart from those things that I've said, the father for all mentality cannot work to a large extent. The speaker will have to crack the whip one way or the other. Other than that, the 9th Parliament, that you have a huge majority against, a micro minority, this feature of vandalism, this feature of rowdyism, of this belligerent posturing of the minority will characterize this particular parliament. That ought not to be the case. Even when in the parliament where we had the hung parliament, it was not as bad as it is.
Okay.
Because this time around, it's surprising that you have the minority that do not have the numbers, rather trying to torpedo that of the majority.
Well,
And I
stay
don't
with
think
me.
the minority will have to
Dr.
sit idle.
Sanchez, yes, great. Stay with me because I need your thoughts on the next issue. But coming up next is a related matter as well, because what happened in Parliament earlier this evening was all about the situation in the Kwandai constituency, the letter by the clerk to Parliament to the Electoral Commission notifying the Electoral Commission of a vacancy in Parliament. Well, in the Kwandai constituency earlier today, the paramount chief of Kwandai takes on his own sub-chiefs for declaring their opposition to the parliamentary election rerun. So it's a very interesting development. It's not only a situation on the political front, we're seeing it also play out at the traditional front as well, because if you recall yesterday, a group of chiefs, sub-chiefs, who addressed the press indicating that they were for peace and they didn't endorse any form of by-election that this entire court ruling was now going to lead to. But now, the paramount chief of Kwandai, Nana Brestiam Okore Atosa II, has criticized a group of his sub-chiefs for declaring the opposition to a parliamentary election rerun in the Kwandai constituency. That was that press conference yesterday. Why don't you take a listen to him?
We, the chiefs, respectfully are calling on the president and all stakeholders to ensure that the will of the people of Kwandai constituency is duly respected regarding the 2024 parliamentary elections. We and our subject gathered here today are a mix of sympathizers of both NDC and MPP, and would want to live in peace. And so we say, no rerun in our constituency. We do highly respect the ruling of the court, all right, but we are all of the strongest view that it will not bring peace if it is upheld. We will not tolerate any attempt to use violence to change or overturn the verdict of the people of Kwandai. We respectfully request Honorable Daniel Nsalawakbal to hold his breath.
So it was the press conference yesterday. Now here the paramount chief today. Take a look.
Chiefs and leaders, opinion leaders in Kwandai are saying that we are nobody to stand against the verdict of the court. We will vote if the chance comes from the court. And again, we fear nobody. Kwandai is peaceful, and anybody telling you Kwandai is at war, the person is a liar. And again, we, the people seated here, we are saying.
Dr. Asante Otchere, that's what's happening in the constituency now. The traditional leadership there have also taken a position on this matter. You just heard the paramount chief essentially contradicting the position of his sub-chiefs and criticizing them for taking that position without consultation to him. Doc.
Alfred, it is quite unfortunate that you have sub-chiefs meddling, in the politics of the day in such a manner. I felt that he had started very well, but to contradict himself along the line meant that he was dabbling into some kind of partisan politics. Listening to the paramount chief, it means that I don't know exactly where Mr. Nyindam comes from as far as Kwandai is concerned. I don't want to think or hazard a guess that where some of these sub-chiefs come from he may have some kind of affiliation with them. And probably where the paramount chief also comes from, it doesn't have that kind of distance. But I think that those are guesses that I just hazarded. But I'm of the view that what the paramount chief said is something that should be held paramount, and I think it holds sway over the sub chiefs, because if we are all subject to the rule of law and to the constitution of this country, then obviously we may have to pander to the whims and caprice of what the law says. And I don't think that anybody can use his whims and caprice, as it were, to do certain things that are unthinkable, that are at variance, with the constitution or constitutional provision of the day. He may have himself to blame some come the near future, and it's something that he may have to probably, from traditional perspective, apologize to the paramount chief, because other than that, it will create a semblance of disunity, in that particular constituency or district, so to speak. And this is something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. But that being said, Alfred, you see, I'm of the view that
as you round up for me,
the MPP itself are paying for the sins of the past. And in my view, they allowed the former president too much leverage, too much power, that affected the structures of the party to the extent that today they are trying to rebuild. And anytime they try, whatever breaks that delay, within no time, these bricks collapse. And that is something that is not really helping the party. And I think that they may have to have an inward, introspection of whatever transpired in the past and see how best they can rebuild the party.
Right.
As it stands now, they are at a crossroads. That is not easy for them.